Good morning and welcome to Extra Shot. I'm Carlos Diaz along with Julia and Jalea, and we're talking, of course, about the story that everyone is talking about this morning, which is Hurricane Ian down in Florida. A lot of us have family down there. Some of us have property down there. A lot of people have connections from Indiana to Florida, and you're saying this looks bad.
Yes, it is 2 miles short of 2 miles per hour short of a Category 5 hurricane, which means that catastrophic damage is inevitable.
Have we ever had a Category 5 hit the United States?
But boy, it's rare.
Yeah.
It is rare. And take a look at this. This is the radar now. I'm going to come over here and show you what this looks like. So look at this defined eye with these rain bands coming into Cape Coral. Can we put me in chroma or no? Just let me know. Okay. Well, no. Okay. All right. Let me just zoom in here. Cape Coral over to Sarasota and then Fort Meade. And look at the very heavy rain from like Fort Pierce all the way up to Kissimmee and Orlando. Those are very heavy cells of rain, and they go all the way up to the Space Coast around Jacksonville. Now, this is the latest coordinates on this storm, and I can't even believe this is coming out of my mouth, folks. 155 mile per hour winds. That is, as you'll see here, so I've got listed here hurricane category. So 155 would still technically be a 4, but 5 is 157 plus, and that's catastrophic damage will occur. In fact, I think catastrophic damage will occur anyway, technically as a 4. This is the most shocking, I think, of all of the stuff that the Hurricane Center is providing us with this morning, from Inglewood to Bonita Beach. And some of you not familiar with this area, so Cape Coral and Fort Myers, think Fort Myers, okay? 12 feet to 16 feet storm surge. That is a 2-story house. That's how big that storm surge the Hurricane Center is projecting will be, and that is just mind-boggling. Series of tornado watches, in fact, basically from Orlando all the way down to south of Miami around Homestead under a tornado watch, and then you see that hurricane warning. That's basically a 30-mile strip, and we're pretty convinced that that's going to take place, landfall near Cape Coral or just north of Cape Coral about 2 o'clock this afternoon. Now here, it's beautiful outside. It's just a little chilly. 45 right now and 54 by lunchtime with a high later today of 63. But again, just keep it tuned to Channel 13 throughout our newscast. Of course, the Today Show is doing an excellent job of covering this. Lindsay will be along at the noon hour on TV, but we're updating everything on WTHR.com. You can see stories, the latest news from the Hurricane Center as well, and on our app.
And you did just kind of allude to it. You were talking about the tornadoes. I thought that's what I heard them say on the Today Show as well, that if this storm, Ian, wasn't deadly enough, just this tornado, the size of the tornadoes it could be spawning would be enough to make you...
When I speak to groups, I often talk about the fact that when you think of hurricane, you think of flooding and heavy rain, and that's certainly true. The biggest threat in hurricanes is tornadoes, because you could have a cluster of tornadoes form at one time and do damage, and we already have seen that last night near the Keys. So, and Pompano Beach had a tornado hit the airport out there. So that's going to be a major concern too. And if you have friends and family, I've got a son and daughter-in-law who live in Orlando. Just tell them to please be aware. Your mother-in-law. Just tell them to please be aware of everything and do exactly as they are told by the emergency providers.
I did have one more question. I apologize.
Yeah, no, that's all right.
So we were showing video earlier of the Keys. Are they out of the woods at this point?
They're not out of it. They're still under a tornado threat, especially the northern Keys. Like if you go Key Largo, Marathon, where you're headed on into the Everglades area, they're still under a tornado watch. But it's a whole lot better there than it is at Tampa and Sarasota, and then down towards Fort Myers. Fort Myers, I'm really concerned about that area today.
And not to put you on the spot, I mean, this, because we're talking about Category 5 storms, and I remembered Hurricane Andrew was that. I mean, and that wiped out the entire town of Homestead. Homestead, yeah. I mean,
here's the difference between then and now. Construction, because that was a long time ago, all right? So the construction and the construction of buildings since then is much better. The coding is better from health authority, or not health authorities, but building authorities in Florida as far as those buildings are concerned. Not to say this could not be just devastating, because I think it's going to be very bad. I think we're going to have millions and millions of dollars worth of damage from this storm. I really hold off on saying that kind of thing, but this is just evidence. It's 155 miles per hour, and it will reach land at about 2 o'clock today as a Category 4 hurricane.
And one of the things they talked about on the Today Show was it will reach land on high tide. I mean,
On high tide, correct.
That's a disadvantage, right?
That's a huge disadvantage, because let's say
there's more water to
there's
push
more
in.
water that's already there, and the low pressure, because these are basically low pressure storms, it pushes down on the water. That water has to do something, so it just kicks up like that, and kicking up to 12 to 16 feet of a storm surge, which is it's just mind-boggling. And I know this is a major worry to many of you, and I'm certainly not trying to make you worry more. I'm just trying to tell you exactly what the Hurricane Center is saying, and then no more. For my kids who live in Central Florida, what I've told them, again, is just do exactly what you're told to do, and that should help.
Well, we know we've got Indiana Task Force 1. They made it, I believe, to Georgia last night, where they're just basically waiting to hear from FEMA. And then we also have some Red Cross volunteers. They're actually already starting to support staff there. And they'll be there before, during, and of course after. So we've got a lot of Hoosiers that are, you know, in harm's way as well, because they're doing what they do.
And they do an incredible job. And Becky, I'm going to address your emails. A young lady who, she and her husband have property down south of Fort Myers. You're not going to get to that property for a while, so I wouldn't even worry about getting in the car and trying to drive. It's just going to be a while. Even if you have no damage, certainly there will be damage around, and power crews, and we are expecting a lot of people to be without power. So you're just going to have to wait a while before you get down there.
All right. Well, we know the Today Show is doing a great job on covering
They
this.
are.
So we appreciate you being with us here on Extra Shot. We wanted to just kind of talk weather today in Extra Shot, because we feel like it's so important.
By this time tomorrow, by the way, we'll be looking at this storm to be, let me think, it will probably be near Orlando as a tropical storm. So that's what we're, to be on land that long as a hurricane and then tropical storm, that shows you the potential strength of this.
Oh, just praying for everyone there.
Yeah.
Just, so worried about that.
All right, well, we'll have updates throughout the day. You can also keep on NBC News. They'll have updates on the Today Show throughout the day. This is a developing situation, which will be developing all day long. Keep it right here on Channel 13 for all the latest. And we'll have much more tomorrow morning on 13 Sunrise beginning at 4 a.m.